Hi, and welcome to the Mindful Viking podcast, where ancient wisdom meets the modern world. I'm your host, Madeleine Vallon. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the concept of balance. We'll look at how our Nordic ancestors created harmony, explore the idea of Lagom, and I'll guide you through a reflective exercise to help you tune into where you may be in or out of balance in your life. So grab a cup of your favorite brew, light a candle, and have a pen and paper ready in case you want to jot something down or capture an insight. Enjoy. There's a rhythm I sometimes forget. It's not the rhythm of alarms, schedules, deadlines, or expectations, but a much older rhythm. The one that existed long before urgency became our religion. I tend to feel it when the world around me goes silent, when the noise drops away and nothing is pulling at me. When I remember, even for a moment, that life is not something to be wrestled into order, it's something to be in rhythm with. There's always been a part of me that knew how to push. You know, the achiever, the producer, the one who can make things happen. I relied on that part. I praised that part. I was praised for that part. I built from it. But there has also always been another part of me, a quieter one, a wiser one. You know, that part that just wants to sit down and tune in and breathe and feel and listen. Just be. And for years I thought those two parts were enemies, that I had to choose. Either be productive or be present. Be strong or be soft. Be driven or be still. And because our world rewards the push, the doing, I chose the push again and again and again. Until one day, I found myself exhausted, ungrounded, and disconnected from the very life I was trying to live. And what I now know is this: I'm not alone in that. Most driven, sensitive, creative humans are not tired because they're weak. They're tired because we've abandoned our natural rhythm, because we've been conditioned to worship productivity and speed and to fear stillness. We push until our nervous systems fray. And then we wonder why we can't hear our own intuition, why we lose our spark, why we feel unfulfilled even when we're achieving or succeeding. What I've come to learn is that productivity without presence becomes emptiness in motion. I'll say that again. Productivity without presence becomes emptiness in motion. Because if you never pause long enough to hear your own footsteps, you eventually lose the path entirely. When I think of harmony, I don't think of perfection. I think of a story that I've carried with me since I was a child. Picture a small circle of Vikings gathered around a fire. It's nighttime. The flames are rising. The shadows are flickering. They pass a single horn of mead from hand to hand. Each person takes only one sip and then passes it along. Not more. Not less, just enough. Now imagine if one of those Vikings took more than they should. There wouldn't simply be enough to go around. So you had to take one sip only. Not more, not less, just enough. They had to honor the resource. They had to honor each other. And they had to honor the moment. This, to me, is the definition of the Swedish word lagom, meaning not too much, not too little, just right. And when I look at modern life, my life, your life, our collective life, I can see how much we've forgotten that simple principle. Not just on a global scale, which is probably a talk for another day, but also on a very personal level. Because when one part of our inner world takes too much, or does too much work, too much pressure, too much performance, we drain the whole system. And when we give ourselves too little rest, too little beauty, too little breath, we lose our spark. We often talk about balance as if it's a place we can arrive and stay forever. But nature tells a different story. See, a forest is not in perfect balance every single day, and yet, across a season, across a year, across a life cycle, there's harmony. Balance is not a fixed point. Balance is a rhythm. Balance is a relationship. It's a return. And that is what Lagom invites us into. A way of living that honors just enough. Not the pace of fear, not the pace of comparison, not the pace of performance, not the pace of more, the pace of what is needed. We grow best not when we push ourselves to the edge, but when we stretch in rhythm with ourselves. There's a principle in performance psychology that mirrors this really beautifully. It says we grow best when we lean just about 4% beyond our comfort zone. Not 40, not 400, 4. That's just enough to awaken us, just enough to make us become very present and focused, but not enough to drown us. And athletes who pushes, say, 50% past their capacity, they normally don't find greatness. They get injured. And when we push 50% past our emotional or mental limit, we don't find excellence, we find burnout. See, growth without rhythm breaks us. Growth with rhythm builds us. The world will always pull you outward. The noise, the urgency, speed, proving more. But harmony lives inward, in the breath, in the body, in the moment you come back to yourself before you act, before you answer, before you continue. So much of our suffering comes from forgetting our rhythm. We override the signals. We abandon what the body tells us. We ignore those small whispers. We sprint through seasons that are asking us to slow down, and we collapse into stillness in seasons that are asking us to rise. And then we judge ourselves for not feeling balanced, as if balance were a medal for perfect behavior instead of a lifelong relationship with honesty. My own life has taught me that harmony starts with paying attention, not to the noise of the world, but to the quiet signals within, the texture of our breath, the weight of our body, the speed of our thoughts, the state of our nervous system. These are not just small details. They are the rhythm makers of our inner world. And if we don't pay attention, we will miss the cues. And yet, most of us live from the neck up. All mind, no body. All doing, no being. All output, no return. But the body keeps the score. The body remembers. The body will get your attention one way or another. Gently, if we listen early, and very loudly if we wait too long. What I've learned in my life is that harmony is not a performance. It's participation. Harmony is remembering ourselves. And remembering takes practice. It takes honesty. It takes a whole lot of permission. And it takes compassion. And the courage to choose just enough in a world that's addicted to more. What I've also learned is that peace lives in the places I was once taught to dismiss. Silence, slowness, intuition, breath, nature, presence. These are not luxuries. They are the foundation of a regulated, creative, and meaningful life. When we slow down enough to feel our own rhythm, something naturally softens. Our breath evens. Our nervous system naturally shifts. The noise inside of us loosens its grip. And in that softening, clarity returns, creativity returns, capacity returns, harmony returns. So before we move into our grounding practice, I want to invite you into a small experiment. An experiment in starting to notice without judgment. Because balance doesn't begin with action, it begins with awareness. Take a moment right now and think about the pace you've been living at recently. Not the pace you wish you were living at, but the real pace, the truth. Has it been a pace that honors your body? Has it been a pace that leaves room for you to feel, listen, rest? If the answer is no, that's totally okay. In fact, that honesty is the doorway back to harmony. Harmony isn't about getting it right or moving into a perfect state of balance. It's about coming back like waves on the ocean, moving against the shore. And I want to say this clearly. You don't have to earn the right to rest. You don't have to justify your pause. You don't have to apologize for needing space. Because rest is not a reward. Stillness is not laziness. Reflection is not indulgence. These are the places where our rhythm and creativity regenerates. This is why rituals matter so much. Not because they make us better, but because they return us to our rhythm. A walk in nature, for example. One slow cup of tea. 10 quiet breaths. A pause before responding. These are micro choices that call harmony back. And that is what Lagom really is. A way of meeting life honestly. A way of living that honors rhythm, relationship, and reality. Not fantasy and pressure and performative perfection. If balance were a destination, most of us would never arrive. But if balance is rhythm, if it's a returning, then we have endless chances. Every breath, every pause, every choice, every moment. Harmony is a practice that allows for the mess, the seasons of your life, and the truth of being human to be present as well. So as we move into this final part of our time together, I want you to gently shift from listening with your mind to listening with your body. You don't need to change your posture for this exercise. You don't have to sit a certain way or do it right. You can just be here, exactly as you are. Now, I do recommend you switching off any notifications or external noise if you can. And of course, make yourself as comfortable as possible. This is a moment for you to tune in, reconnect, and take some well-deserved time for yourself. Now, let's start by noticing your breath as it is in this moment. You don't have to control it. You don't have to make it deeper or more shallow. Just notice. Notice the inhale. Notice the natural rhythm that's been here all along, breathing for you, even when you forget to pay attention. Now, slowly, allow your exhale to lengthen just by a second or two. A long, soft exhale signals safety. It tells your body you can land, you can release. You don't have to brace right now. And just in this moment, feel the weight of your body. Feel your feet on the ground or the support beneath you. Let your shoulders drop, even by 1%. Notice what happens in your body when you do that. Simply paying attention. Can you drop them 1 more %? Then let your jaw soften. Let your belly loosen. There's nowhere else to be right now. There's nothing else to hold. And as you breathe, bring awareness to the center of your chest. Notice any sensations. Warmth, tightness, openness, numbness, maybe fluttering. You don't need to try to fix or analyze what you find. Just notice. Sensation is truth in its simplest form. Now travel to your belly. Place a hand here if you want. Notice how your belly rises and falls with each breath. Notice if you've been bracing or holding something here. And without forcing anything, see if your abdomen can melt just a little bit. Even a 1% softening is meaningful. Now bring your awareness to your shoulders and the space between your shoulder blades. Imagine the breath moving there, widening that space from the inside. You don't need to be the one holding up the world right now. Just let the breath hold you for a moment. Now move your attention to your face and the tiny muscles around your eyes, the forehead, the tongue resting in your mouth, and just soften them. Let the face be soft, unguarded. Notice your whole body now. Maybe you have a deeper sense of calm spreading throughout your whole body. Just lean into that. This is what it means to return to yourself. Not through perfection, but through presence. Now ask yourself quietly, where in my life am I pushing beyond my natural rhythm? Listen for the first truth that arises. No need to judge it, just acknowledge. Then ask, where am I depriving myself of something I need? Again, don't answer with the mind. Just listen with the body. Harmony does not begin with changing your life. It begins with noticing your life. Noticing your pace, your breath, your truth. To close this practice, let's return to your breath and allow 3 slow, steady breaths to move in and out of your body. With each exhale, imagine your body softening by another 1%. Just 1. That's enough. Feeling your feet on the ground, dropping back into the present moment. Taking a deeper breath, and as you breathe out, open your eyes. Welcome back. Balance, my friends, isn't found in a single decision. It isn't a destination. It's found in 1,000 tiny returns. And you are allowed to return as many times as you need. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. As you step back into your world, remember the circle by the fire, the horn that passed from hand to hand, and the understanding of Lagom, just enough. May you honor your rhythm, trust your season, and walk with harmony in a busy world. Until next time.